Hello students, I am Saroj Singh back again to our English class. How are you all? I hope you all are fine. Well, good. Okay, so in our earlier class we have studied sentences, and in sentences we have done types, subject and predicate, and object. So we have studied about all these things in short. So what we will do today is that we will read these parts in detail, one by one separately. So today we will cover up subject and predicate in detail. Okay? So, like I told you in sentences, how we form these sentences. So just I said earlier that we will take some words in random way, that is boy, playing, garden, is, the, in. Okay, we have taken a few words over here which are giving us no sense. Boy, playing, garden, is, the, in. It is not giving us any sense. So let's say if we take a few words from these and try to write them in such a way that they might give us some sense. Like I will pick up in the garden. So is it giving us any sense in the garden? No. But we can't say exactly that it is not giving us any sense. It is giving us some sense, not complete sense, but it is giving us some sense. That is, whatever the action is, we know that it is happening in the garden, but we have no idea that what is the action or who is performing the action. Okay, so we have no such details getting over here. So we will put up more words like a boy is playing in the garden, right? Now it is giving us some sense. Yeah, now we know that a boy is playing in the garden. So earlier in the garden, which was not giving us any sense. Okay, it was not giving us any sense earlier, but now this whole sentence gives us sense. So this part of this sentence which gives only some sense but not complete sense is known as phrase. And how would you know that it is a phrase? Well, first of all, that it will not give complete sense. Secondly, it will not include any verb in it. So that is a phrase. But if we say this whole, a boy is playing in the garden, is this a phrase or a sentence? Well, it is a sentence. Why? Because it is giving us complete sense. Okay, so what we have to remember about sentence? There are a few things that first of all, sentence will always start with a capital letter. Secondly, it will always end with a full stop or a question mark or an exclamation mark. Okay, sentence will always start with a capital letter and it will always end with a full stop or a question mark or an exclamation mark depending on the type of sentence. That if it is a normal statement, it will end with a full stop. If it is a question, like I say, what is your name? So it will end with what? Question mark, because it is a question. If I say, what a beauty? Well, this is not a statement, this is not a question, but it expresses our on the spot feeling. So this is an exclamatory sentence. So this will end with an exclamation mark. We will read about the types of sentence later on in detail. So I hope you understand that a sentence will always start with a capital letter and end with a full stop or question mark or exclamation mark. Then there is a proper structure of sentence. How we know that it is a sentence? Okay, it might give you sense, complete sense, but how would you know that it is giving us proper sense? What is the structure of that sentence? Well, structure means that what things will come first, then after that, and then after that. So first of all, in a sentence comes subject. Okay, here in this sentence, a boy is playing in the garden. Subject is who is doing the action. Okay, subject is who performs the action. Subject is who performs the action. Okay, or about whom we are talking. So here a boy is the subject. Okay, then there is a helping verb. Over here, what is helping verb? Now the question rises that what is helping verb? Well, helping verb are is, am, are, was, were, do, does, did, has, have, had. Okay. These are our helping verbs. Then we have main verb. So here what is the helping verb? Is. This is our helping verb. After helping verb comes main verb. Main verbs are mainly action words. Okay. These are action words. Like if a boy is studying. So study is our main verb. Watch, play, run, walk. These all are main verbs. So we always have to remember that in helping and main helping verb always comes first and main verb comes later. Also, it might happen that a sentence have only one singular verb. Like we can say, she is intelligent. Over here we have only one singular verb, that is. So is this helping verb or main verb? Well, you will say that this is helping verb because is come in helping verb. It's right, it is a helping verb, but right now it is doing the action of main verb. Okay, over here it is doing the action of main verb. It is not helping any other verb to complete the sentence. It is in itself is a main verb completing the sentence. Okay, we know that the girl is intelligent. So here it will act as main verb, but if it comes with other verbs which are main verbs, then these becomes helping verb. Okay, you understand this all? Fine. So after helping verb comes main verb. Now a sentence can have a object or it cannot have an object. Both are the cases. Here we have not used any object. But if I say a boy is playing football in the garden. Okay. Now our sentence changed. We know that what the boy is playing. Earlier the sentence was right. No problem in that. So our sentence also can be formed with subject plus helping verb plus main. The boy is studying. Okay. But many times we have object in a sentence. Object is basically, what is object? Object is one which receives the action. Okay. It receives the action. That is our object. We will cover this in detail later on. So it receives the action. So here this is our object. So after main verb will come object. Well, the remaining part, that is in the garden. If I cut these parts, if I say the sentence is only a boy is playing football, it gives us complete sense. We don't need these words. Okay, it is giving us sense. These words gives further knowledge that where the action happened. Okay, so these are not ways, they are important, but they are different parts of speech which will be covered not now, later on, because right now our focus is basically sentences in which we will do subject and predicate. Okay, so the main structure of a sentence is subject plus helping verb plus main verb plus object. Done? Okay, so now let's come to subject and predicate. Now we will know in detail that what is the subject, how it is performed, where it is used. Okay. I hope you are understanding all this. Okay. So now we will do subject and predicate. Subject, like I have told you, which is spoken about, which is who is talked about, जिसके बारे में हम बात करते हैं, who is talked about, or who is performing the action. Okay, that is our subject. So the sentence like we have, we will take the same example. A boy is playing in the garden. A boy is playing in the garden. So here, who is performing the action? A boy. About whom we are talking? A boy. So this is our subject. Okay. And what is predicate? Well, predicate is what is talked about subject. Okay. Or action performed by subject. Okay. So here, what the boy is doing? He is playing in the garden. So this is playing in the garden. This whole is predicate. Okay. Whatever is talked about the subject, or whatever the boy, whatever our subject is doing, that is a predicate. So here the boy is playing in the garden. This whole is predicate. One thing is important about predicate is that it will always include verb. It is a very crucial part of predicate. It will always have verb in it. Okay, you know now what is predicate. So now we will know more things about our subject. One thing you know that subject is basically who performs the action. Now subject have some points. We can say subject always have one word or more words. It could be of one word or more words. Like earlier our example, a boy is playing in the garden. In that we see that boy is a single word and it was our subject. But we can't say that subject can be of only singular word. There can be more words like Sham and his friends are playing. Sham and his friends are playing. So here, who is playing? Sham or only his friends? Well, we can't say that only Sham is playing. His friends are also playing. So we have to say that Sham and his friends, all these boys or girls are playing. They all are playing. So our subject is combined of 4 words. Sham and his friends. This is our subject. Okay, first point clear? Its subject could be of one word or more words. Then our next point comes that subject can be at the starting point or it could be at the end point. It could be at the starting point or end point. That is here Sham and his friends are playing. The subject comes in the starting. How it can come in the end? When we want to emphasize something. Like I said, a saint lived in the forest. Over here what we say, who lived in the forest? A saint. So this is subject. But we can write it in other way also when we want to emphasize this sentence. Okay. जब हम किसी सेंटेंस पे जोर देकर प्रभाव डालकर कोई चीज बताना चाहें, देन वी कैन ऑल्सो राइट सेंटेंस सब्जेक्ट एट द एंड, लाइक इन द फॉरेस्ट lived a saint. So over here is our subject in the forest. Are we talking about the forest? No. We are talking about a saint. So our subject comes at the end. Okay? Understood? That first of all our subject can be comprised of one or more words. Plus it could come at the starting point or it could come at the end point. So these are the 2 points which are quite important, and you should remember these 2 things and don't get confused. Now another thing. Well, another thing is that in imperative sentences, imperative sentences, you know, which gives us advice, order, request, etc. Okay? So in imperative sentences, what is subject? If I write out, say, come in, whom I am saying come in, I can write this as you come in. Do your work properly. Whom I am telling to do work properly? Well, I can write you do your work properly. Okay? So here, in both the sentence, what is the subject? You. Who will come in? You. Who will do work properly? You. So in imperative sentences, subject is always you. Remember this thing. In imperative sentences, subject is always you. Then comes the question of interrogative sentences which ask question. Okay? Interrogative sentence ask questions, and okay, imperative sentences also. In imperative sentences, sorry, not imperative, exclamatory sentences. Exclamatory sentences. These are our feelings and emotions. They express our emotions and feelings. Okay? So in these what we will do? Well, in these sentences, what we will do? We will convert the question into a statement. Like I say, have you let's say, has she done her work? Has she done her work? This is a question. So we will convert this sentence into a statement. Like, if I ask you, has she done her work? What you will say? Yes, she has done her work. You will say that. We will convert this into a statement. And how we will convert? We will put subject first and then helping verb. That was our structure of a sentence. So, she has done her work. So now this is a sentence, and here we can tell that what is the subject? Subject is she. So in this sentence, what is the subject? She is our subject. Okay? Same way in exclamatory sentence. If I say, how beautiful she looked. How beautiful she looked. Now, this is an exclamatory sentence. It expresses our emotion, feeling after when we saw a girl who is quite beautiful. So this is not a question. It is started with how, but this is not a question because here we have not used helping verb for making the sentence. Now we will convert this into a statement. Here we will first, who looked beautiful? She. So we will write she looked beautiful. We will make, but where we will place how? We will put it in a bracket. She looked how beautiful. So this we have used how in this sentence to express our emotion. So we have put this into a bracket. That means if we remove this, the sentence will give a complete sense. She looked beautiful. It gives a complete sense. So who looked beautiful? She. So in this sentence, what is our subject? She. This is our subject. Okay, you all understood this? I hope so. Well, remember that subject in normal statements can be of more than one or two words. It can come in the starting, it can come at the end. Then in imperative sentence, subject is always you, and in interrogative questions, okay, in interrogative and exclamatory questions, we will convert those sentences to find out the subject, and then we will know what is the subject, who is performing, or about whom we are talking. Okay, so you will convert these sentences like this. If the in interrogative question, how you will convert? You will put helping verb later on, and who is doing the action, you will place that word first of all. And in exclamatory sentence, well, these does not have does not have a proper structure. So we can say that these are exclamatory sentence as it started with how but has no helping verb. So we'll put the sentence into a statement. She looked beautiful, and we will place the exclamatory word into a bracket. Okay. So here, who looked beautiful? She. So that's how we will know that what is our subject. I hope you all understood this chapter. Okay, that's all for today. Thank you.